What's up, YouTube? I'm Chuck the Liberty Geek, and today I got another great episode, hopefully. Today we're going to be talking about the game that made waves with its ridiculous-ass trailer, Hatred. Today I have two guests joining me. Both of them happen to be good friends of mine as well as admins from Libertarian Gaming. First off, we have Stetson. Say hi.
Hello. Hi.
And we also have Varys, who also wrote an article that inspired me to do this episode. So, hi, Varys.
Hello.
So, guys, let's get started. So, Hatred. We all saw the trailer. We saw Tommy Wiseau from The Room talk about how much he hates people. Load what looked to be an AK and just go out and start killing people. But interestingly enough, they seem to be the innocent kind. Now, what was your thirst? What was your first thought, Varys, when you saw this trailer?
I thought they were just trying to be very try-hard, but afterwards and realizing all the blowback that it was receiving and how much people hated it, I guess I was realizing that this is like every other game that I play. It's just less bullshit, to muck it up. It's just the core of pretty much everything I play.
I mean, it's kind of like you can do everything you do in that game, you can do in something like Grand Theft Auto, and look how much like gaming media loves Grand Theft Auto. Every time a new one comes out, they just eat it up. So, Stetson, what was your first thought about Tommy Wiseau?
About the we're still talking about the
Hatred, yeah.
hatred. Okay, I was like,
guy, I just think the guy looks like Tommy Wiseau from The Room. I did
yeah.
not see you. It's bullshit. Oh, hi, Mark.
I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, well, this game, and I mean to quote one of our friends on TeamSpeak, doesn't really have any tastes. I mean, I didn't like that it was just it was a distasteful game, but I think they have the right to make a game like that whenever they want. So, I'm completely fine with them killing random innocent people because I mean I did that in Grand Theft Auto all the time, especially was it the Vice City? That was my favorite.
Vice City's my favorite too.
But it's the biggest thing that I think is people think that violent video games cause violent people, and it's almost the same crowd that's like, well, guns don't kill people. People kill people, and you're like, well, then violent video games don't make violent people. Violent people make violent people, and it's kind of hard to discern it, and that's where I really kind of draw the line there.
I mean, they talk about the joke. I mean, if violent video games make violent people, what video game were the Crusaders playing 5,000 years ago, right?
Crusader Kings 2.
Oh, we got a wise ass over here. Maybe. But definitely not Europa. The game where the spy master will tell you should execute him for trying to kill himself. So when it comes down to it, why exactly is it this game and not something like, why is it this game of all the games that's getting so much hate? Is it just because they're, as Vera said, not mucking it up and they're just going straight for the core? Stetson, you look like you want to say something.
I would completely agree there. It's because the whole point of the game is to kill innocent people. There's nothing in between. There's no side quests, no help the state. It's directly kill everyone. Anyone you see is a target.
So if we took an Elder Scrolls game,
I need to interject there. Sorry, Chuck.
Oh boy, go for it.
Well, you do kill cops in the game, and they do shoot back at you. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily entirely shooting fish in a barrel.
Just close.
I wouldn't say that it was really entirely shooting in a barrel itself either, but it's that everyone is a target. Everyone's part of the main quest. It's no one is a bigger target than anyone else. Everyone's.
So, Stetson, let me ask you this then: if I took an Elder Scrolls game, let's say Skyrim, because that's the new one, everyone knows it, right? And I modded out every single quest and just made the game just about killing everyone. Do you think my mod would get just as much hate as Hatred? if it got mainstream media attention?
I don't think so, no. Because the way that I think a person would view that would be like, well, it was one person who created it. It wasn't a whole developer. It wasn't a whole team of people who created this game or this mod. So the sole intent of the game stays the same, whereas the sole intent of hatred is a completely different.
So, a few things that we know about the developer. The developer is actually a Polish team. And what's interesting is they're a Polish team where one of the developers, and this is where I heard some SJW complaints about the game, was one of the Polish developers is a known member of a right-wing group.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
So
goodness.
it's like what? Polish people can't hate communists? I mean, womp, right? But in all seriousness, it's like, no, I don't even want to get into that yet. I'm going to talk to you, Varys. Varys.
Alright.
Okay, so you wrote this amazing article on Libertarian Gaming, .org. I almost said .com. Don't shoot me.
Don't do it.
But what prompted you to write this article?
Well, basically, everyone's starting to say again that they need to limit or restrict video games, and this is nothing new. Every single time that some game that involves killing a bunch of people, there tends to be some sort of crazy angry mob of we gotta ban this. So I guess I release it, just tell people, hold on now, try not to cause this huge angry mob, because these games, they just repeat this every couple of years, and then they forget about the old games they wanted to ban and say, okay, those are now acceptable. As a few
Grand
years
Theft
passes.
Auto?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto used to... Remember when 4 came out? Remember when San Andreas came out?
I remember when Vice City came out. Hell, everyone was losing their shit.
And then slowly but surely, after 4, no one gave a shit.
Enough time passed.
So, I will have a link to the article in the description, like I said. But Stetson, do you think that let me ask you a different question in this light. Do you think it matters who the developer is? Do you think a developer themselves should become, what should be coming under? I'm trying to think about how to put this. What should come under? What do you think is causing more of the criticism? The game itself, or maybe the right-wing connected developer? What do you think caused more of a shitstorm?
Well, I would agree with you partially there that if like Rockstar had actually made this game, it would have been like, oh, well, that's just Rockstar again, making games about killing people. So there is a hint of that in the this is an off-board kind of, we don't know who these developers are and they made this game and it's getting attention, and we must condemn them because they'll cause all of our children to get crazy and maybe go Polish themselves or whatever people think. But yeah, I do believe that the developer had been different in that sense, that it probably would not have gotten as much media attention.
I mean, I like how you brought up the fact that it was Rockstar, because literally this is Rockstar's alley of type of games. I mean, GTA. I believe they were also the ones that did Manhunter. I mean, it's so crazy. It's just like, but what if it had been someone like Bethesda? No, I already picked on them. What if it had been someone like, oh, I don't know, think of a really extreme example, Nintendo? Do you think that it would have come under more fire?
Oh yes, because Nintendo has really gained a popularity in family-style gaming. I mean, the worst that they get is maybe a really crazy version of Final Fantasy, which is not really Nintendo. It's just kind of a Square Enix thing. But that's when I think of Final Fantasy, I think of Nintendo mostly, because it's when its good years were. But they get into like I guess Super Smash Brothers would be their violent title.
Okay,
So
how about EA? What if this was an EA what if EA picked up this game? Do you think that, not that they probably will because it's EA, but do you think if EA picked up this game right now, do you think the heat would go away just because EA picked it up?
I mean, they have their way to, they can buy their self out of any situation. I feel like it would.
Okay, so in that case, then what I sit here and I try to struggle and I try to figure out. It's like, yes, it's really edgy. Yes, it's like, I mean, to me, does it really look fun? No, it looks a little too arcadey for my taste. But like, if they were, talking about because the gameplay looked boring, that's one thing. That's the market, critiquing, the developer. But this is, and I mean, technically, yes, the people that are throwing hate at this game are technically using their rights of free expression to explain that, but calls for what almost calls for censorship. It feels like, Yeah, am I crazy for thinking that there's almost like a censorship call with this game?
I think the censorship for games has been around for a very long time, and it's almost been a hypocritical movement. But yes, there is a call for censorship for this game, but there's always been a lot of, I think there's been a big movement in the censorship for gaming industry, especially as of late, and it's just kind of they're putting it as icing on the cake. And when I worked in retail, really, I sold video games. We would check the ID of people's to make sure that they could legally buy this game. Well, not legally, but that they were supposed to buy this game. And most of our most violent, titles that went out to mothers who bought it and then handed it to their, like 12-year-old son, minutes out of the door. So if we want to start with the whole ban machine, maybe you should just take a long, hard look and look back in the mirror and say, well, why did I buy my kids such violent video games if I don't like violent video games?
Yeah, I mean, do you think that this could do you think that this could how do I put this? Do you think this could be the second coming of like, okay, first there was the ESRB, right? We had this basically the censorship board. Do you think that this could spark a second one?
Well, as far as with music goes, when I don't know if you remember this, but when they started the whole, let's start rating music, and rating games, it only made those games more attractive and sell more. So even if they did that, it would just help the game industry even more unintentionally. Of course, they're trying to hurt it. It would only help it. So let them try. Unintended consequences are real.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so what happens then?
But
Like what example?
I want to.
How do I put this? Like, let's say, what could go next? You know what I'm saying? What could be the next step from the ESRB? I mean, how bad could this get if it
Government
does?
censorship like Australia and Germany.
Well, that's what I think. It'll come to the point where they actually ban games, just literally stop legal sale of the games, which really won't do anything whatsoever. Just makes it harder for people to buy it legally, but that doesn't stop them from buying it.
Mm, black market style? Are Americans gonna have to start importing games from like Canada? Like to get past this?
I'm pretty sure that Canadians would be sooner to ban video games than over here.
Okay, that was a really bad example.
Most likely, it would be from like South America.
But does this scare? Okay, maybe scare is the wrong term for most people because to them it's just video games. But from video games, where do you go after that? I mean, the world is their oyster after that. It's a stepping stone. So does this scare you at all?
Yes and no. The intentions are definitely scary, but they're usually very poorly organized, and their attempts to ban things very poorly orchestrated. I don't know if anyone remembers when Hillary Clinton was trying to get things super, super restricted and make it pass a law making it completely illegal to for minors to own video games that contain violence. But that didn't go so well for her. And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, there's a lot of gamers out there. They like games like this. And I want to veer off for a second and say that there's a Kotaku article I'm looking at right now, published in 2009 by Brian Crescente, I want to say is his name. And basically he's connecting, saying that Columbine was because the people played Postal, which was a very controversial game at the time, similar to this, I guess. But they're definitely going to blame this on the next school shooting.
Okay, just for shits and giggles, Varys, where is the next school shooting?
I have my sources, Chuck.
My sources are telling me it's going to be right here. No, but but for real, hi NSA. Hi FBI. But in all seriousness, no. I mean, if this gets blamed for the school shooting, with enough momentum that it's already behind the call against this game, is there a chance? No matter how small, is there a chance, Stetson, that this could go somewhere to, like, you know, if a school shooting happens and this game gets blamed, and it already had all this hate beforehand, is there a chance that this could go south for gamers? In like, you know, the state sense?
I think intentionally, or potentially it could definitely, simply because what they'll most likely do is do what the government does, be very inefficient and mark all things that are rated M as AO, right? Mark all things that are rated T as M, and then go down from like E10 T, and then keep E, which normally it does, or the state would do, and keep the same age restrictions. You can't buy AO unless you're 21 or 22 or whatever it is in some states, which that just makes people want to buy it even more, which causes them to be very, very inefficient. When really I think that it's just you need to go from an educational person. Like, if I were a parent, I personally wouldn't let my son or daughter play a violent video game until I believe that they can mentally take care of it. But I don't believe in forcing that opinion on other people. So,
I mean, I played my first mature game when I was like at least late single digits in ages. So I mean, I could see why some parents would say no, but to say that all parents can't let their kids do that, it's like, it's so weird, you know? As an ANCAP and as a voluntarist, I just, it's so weird to me when you think about people trying to push their opinions on other people, but we see it all the time. Absolutely. So, at this point, when everything dies down for this game, let's say it dies down as per usual and life goes on, right? What would it take for the next game to gain the ire of the public?
I think that would be a game solely based on killing government officials.
No, the ANCAPs would line up for that one.
I think maybe even no, ANCOM's our status. Never mind. Womp womp.
They just want a different state.
Right. And okay. Picture this. 2015. I believe that's when this game's slated to come out. The game comes out. Do you think this game is dead on the water as far as review companies go? Already?
I know Kotaku's going to hate it. I mean, I know all the IGN's going to hate. All the mainstream ones are definitely going to hate it. But I promise you, when you look up the Metascore, Metacritic, you're going to see all the, like paid reviewers. All that's going to be probably really low. And the users are going to rate this game like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, like the best game ever released because it has a lot of shock value. And people like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the day, then, should we make a game like this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I can't program at all.
I'll develop it for Mac so that we can have that part at least.
Yes, we can get our 1% of the audience.
Just like me.
Yeah.
We'll play 1%er.
I'll take the role as a lead writer since I don't actually have to do anything then. That was bad. What does that mean?
I mean, if you want, Chuck, you can just, sleep with all the writers at Kotaku and
God damn it! Now Kotaku is gonna be like, "Look at these gamer game freaks! They're still making fun of Zoe Quin." Yeah, I mean, was that a good impersonation of Kotaku? I think that was a pretty good impersonation of Kotaku, personally.
You
I
weren't
think that's.
bleeding.
Oh, my mistake. I had to
You
cut
gotta
off
be
my.
bleeding from your ass, else you're not,
Yeah, and
doing
I
it
also
right.
have to cut off my phallus too, right? Um, but I think Libertarian Gaming should review it. Who's gonna do it? That's the question. Because it's PC only, so
Probably
that's a.
Gary. Probably Gary. Most definitely.
Thanks,
No,
yeah.
I'll definitely put my 2 cents in on
Look
it.
at that! He turned off his camera.
I didn't mean to do that. Press the wrong button.
He's so mad. He turned off his camera.
Yeah. Yeah. When people start making fun of Mac, I call it quits.
He was shut down. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. No.
Oh yes.
He didn't mean it, Steve Jobs. It's okay, Steve Jobs. Do you like? Okay. Off topic. Do like Apple fans have like the Steve Jobs Ouija board? That's supposed
Yes.
to like.
You can ask Ferris. I pray to him all the time that he'll
You
just
hold
get
on to that little thing. Steve Jobs, are you with me?
got his autobiography with me at all times. Just keep it in here, like Ted Cruz keeps his Constitution in his pocket.
Okay, so here's an interesting.
Which
Another
is a
interesting.
full of paper.
Speaking of Steve Jobs, this has nothing to do with Steve Jobs, by the way. But speaking of Steve Jobs, if the protagonist was not a white guy, do you think this game would still get as much hate as it does?
No.
Stetson?
I would say that they would call it racist and give it more hate for another reason.
Now, what if? Okay, so let's take it further. I want to know what it takes for this game to not get the hate it's getting. So, what if?
Here's the easiest way to solve that: turn every other player or every other NPC that's not the person you control into a zombie.
protagonist.
Into a
Oh.
zombie. Turn it into a zombie, and that fixes the whole problem. You're just killing zombies. They're not people.
But let's go about it in a convoluted way. Protagonist is a black guy, a black woman, right? And the developers are all black people. Now what? How does the media react?
He had a hard life. You don't understand.
Right.
You don't know what it's like to deal with that. How dare they?
So, in a roundabout way, since we have 5 minutes, let's kind of do a fun little roundup. And Varys, I'll go with you first. Component by component, what do you think has got people so up in arms about it? Like, spell it out. Really spell it out. Really spell it out.
Really spelled out. Well, I think people are pussy bitches. And you spell that PUSSYBITCHES.
All right, well, I'll make sure to put that in the description below. Stetson, what does it really boil down to?
It's the fact that right in a lot of the monologues and trailers, he goes out and he says that everyone is a piece of shit, and it's kind of like it reminds me of a play I once saw. And if you saw the movie version of it, you won't understand what I'm saying. But it's Sweeney Todd, where he's just like, everyone is a piece of shit. They all deserve to die, and I'm going to fix it right now. But because it's not a developer that normally develops these types of games like Rockstar, and it's not a Broadway movie that normally kind of puts this stuff out, everyone hates it. It's well, how dare they? Not everyone is a piece of shit. Oh.
If this was a movie, would this get a pass?
Yeah, I was actually just about to bring that up. Yes, it has. I mean, definitely. ANCAP's favorite movie, Anarchy: The Purge, where it accurately depicts.
Oh my god! I didn't. Oh my god! I didn't.
People love that. They eat it up.
I didn't see that movie, but I couldn't get myself to see it. Like, I don't know.
It's state-sanctioned violence, basically. It says, okay, you have this time period, and you all gotta hurt each other, and all chaos will break loose.
It's like an
the state is
ANCOM.
sanctioning it.
It's like an ANCOM's favorite game, really, when you think about it.
Pretty much.
But so
People eat that shit up, and they love it. And I haven't heard a single issue from people because they love that shit, and they love all these other things that promote, just killing each other. They love the Hunger Games. They love Anarchy: The Purge. They love all the slasher movies. Freddy, Jason, whatever. All these movies where a lot of people die, innocent people die. They fucking love that shit. but second it's in a video game, oh fuck.
Freddy, Jason, whatever was my favorite of the slasher movies. But where do we? Okay, let's put this on a positive note then. What do we do, and where does it go now? I'm not just talking about where does it go and from a negative sense, but where does the game itself go? What should we do? Should we buy the game? Should we not buy the game? I mean, personally, I think it
We
looks
should
too
pre-order
arcadey.
it on Steam.
I personally won't do it. I do have Windows, so I could play it. I don't like the taste of the game. And that's just my personal opinion.
I agree. Well, I don't think it's tasteless. For me, it's just you might as well just have a score counter in the top corner and just go see how many people you can kill, which to me is meh. I like my mucking about.
To add on to the controversy of this game, and I don't know if like I'm noticing this wrong, but Epic Games in Cary, Raleigh, North Carolina, that area, they're the makers of Unreal Tournament. They made Unreal Engine. This game's Unreal 4. They asked
Gears of War. Sorry.
Yeah, all that stuff. They asked them, please don't put the Unreal logo in your trailer because this game is too offensive. Well, if you look in the trailer at the end of it, I don't know if they meant don't put a big one in there, but there is distinctly the Unreal logo in here. So they're definitely just trying to rustle people, I guess.
Is that what this game comes down to? Just being as edgy as possible for the sake of a message?
More than likely.
Most likely.
So at the end of the day, is there a political agenda here for this game, or is it just literally just how many people we can piss off?
I mean, if I remember right, the developers might have said, or someone else, but I heard it within last week saying this game is not art, and I think the developers actually said this, that they're not trying to make it art, they're not trying to send a message, and through that, personally, I think they are sending a message. I know they're probably, if they ever see this, they're going to be, face palming, but I feel like what they're trying to say is this is the core of games, and they're adding no more.
And with that, I think that's a good point to end off on. Thank you guys so much for a beautiful show. Thank you, Stetson, and thank you, Varys, two admins of Libertarian Gaming. I am also an admin of Libertarian Gaming. But say goodbye, Varys.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, MacBook.
Goodbye.
I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Varys and Stetson. I almost called you guys the opposite names, but it's okay. And I will see you guys hopefully next week if I'm not super busy. Things are changing on my front. Bye.
Bye.